folks, and welcome to the Saturday morning Samoflange. I'm Matt.
And I'm Mikey.
Oh, yeah.
Where's
Benjamin?
Where's BJ?
I don't know.
BJ.
Where are you?
Benjamin.
Well, you know, he's going to be on Shudder.
That's
or
right.
Peacock.
That's right.
Soon.
Yes. He's always peacocking.
He is peacocking.
Yeah. I shudder at his peacockingness.
Oh. Yeah. I shuddered when I saw his peacock.
Hello.
Hey, good morning. It's Saturday. Hey, you know what? Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you.
The Christmas season for me officially begins after Thanksgiving.
Yeah. How was your Thanksgiving?
Fantastic.
Yes.
Yours?
I mean, it's always been my favorite
It's the
holiday.
most wonderful. Is it your favorite holiday?
Thanksgiving is my favorite holiday.
Mine too.
Yeah.
I did not know it was yours.
Yeah. I mean, for me, this is the way I've always looked at it, right? I love Christmas. I love
Christmas
I love
too.
the whole thing together. Mm-hmm. But, you know, lately, and I say lately, it could be in the past couple of decades, really, like Christmas has become so over commercialized that it really bothers me. And the fact that they try to just overshadow Thanksgiving,
Yes.
it's like Thanksgiving doesn't even exist anymore.
They don't care about it.
That bothers me, but I love gratitude. I love being grateful. I love being thankful for things. And I like that there's not any gifts involved in all that. There's not any presents. It's just family getting together.
Food. And fun.
And some football. Fellowship.
Yeah, football. All the F's.
All the F's, And if there's one.
And the other F.
Yes.
Foosball.
Foosball, yes. Fun times.
Fun times is the other F.
All kinds of F and U.
Yep.
F U.
You get
N.
funned up.
Yes. And some fun dip.
Fun dip.
But I know
Fun-size candy bars.
I know. Well, not full size though.
Oh, full.
Or full. It
size.
could be full. Because if somebody gives me a full, I'm like, no F you.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right. Were you the one that sent me that the Grim Reaper getting the candy bar
No.
thing?
Mm-mm.
He's like, "Hello, Margaret. I've come for your soul." Wait, are these full-size candy bars? F me. You're off the hook, Margaret. We're cool.
Love it.
It's so much fun.
So yeah.
But anyway, yeah, I love Thanksgiving for the past couple, I guess, decades too, because I was like, first off, it's a time to be thankful. It's not commercialized. I love the food. I love the family. I love the just fellowship, talking, laughing, playing games, watching a movie, watching football. So everyone's doing something, but everyone's together, and it's like a one-day mini vacation where everyone's together and everyone's having a great day. Also, I love being thankful for things. And we have so much to be thankful for every year. Every year we have so much to be thankful for. And the other thing that I really like about it is when the day is over, you go to bed knowing that, for me, Christmas season is about to begin.
Yes.
And it's just a good feeling.
Yes.
All the way through the whole day. It's so much fun.
Can I tell you something?
Yes.
I'm thankful for you, Matt.
Oh. I'm thankful for you too. I said that in one of my earlier podcasts this Monday. So I was thankful for you and Benjamin and all my co-hosts. And honestly, every friend.
Well,
I thank Step. I thank CJ.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of...
Daddy.
I'm thankful for Stepdaddy.
Mm-hmm.
I am... yeah. So... And so I'm thankful for a lot of things. But I'm going to start living every Thanksgiving and Christmas like it's, the best ever,
Like you just got a bunch of full-size candy bars.
Like I got a bunch of full-size candy bars. I'm ready to roll. But regards to that, it is the Christmas season now.
Yes.
And I'm a big believer in no Christmas until after Thanksgiving. And because I am offended that Thanksgiving gets pushed aside, Black Friday is worshipped. And the countdown to Black Friday. Forget Thanksgiving. It's the countdown to Black Friday is what everyone's doing right now. And I think that's insulting.
And it's not even really Black Friday anymore. Whenever we were growing up, or particularly like maybe in the 90s.
Only the retailers called it Black Friday.
Right.
You and I called it Black Friday.
It was kind of a fun time. Like I remember my friends and I, it was a rite of passage. We'd stay up all night on Thanksgiving night. We would get up and go get in lines at 4 or 5 or 6. And
you mean the old days?
No, yeah. Well, what was fun about that to us is that, we were either teenagers or early 20s. We didn't actually buy anything. thing. We didn't go to buy stuff. We went to be a part of the madness. And to see like old ladies pushing their buggies into each other and people fighting over gifts. And we've seen this stuff, and it was very entertaining to us. But like you said, it's like a vacation, so we didn't have anywhere to be all weekend. You know, it didn't matter if we stayed up all night. We do some stuff like that, have some laughs, eat some breakfast, go sleep half of Friday.
Yep. First year, Megan and I were married. She went Black Friday with her sister. Came in at 8 that morning and went to bed. Showed me everything she got and went to bed. The next year, came in at 6 and crashed because they ate at IHOP early. They'd end their day at IHOP. Then came in, it was always 2 hours early every year, 4, then 2, then midnight. I was like, what are you doing back? She went, well, we're going to wake up later on at 5 and go back out. You know, but they were plotting their day. But there used to be a time where you'd go up all night. Yes. Every store was open, and they always had deals. They knew to keep the sales running, like Target and Walmart would come back we had one at midnight to 1, come back at 2, and we'll have one from 2 to 3, come back at 5. Like, never leave the store. Because we're going to have different doorbusters every other hour.
I love a good doorbuster. You know, we went to a store the other day. I will keep it nameless just because we're not sponsored by them. But, man, like it was so, I don't know. It was cheap stuff. We were getting ready for Christmas, getting some decorations, things like that, and I just loved it. And I get I know we're kind of going off tangent here, but like
we are.
It's a big deal to me because I liked those times, and they were simpler times. But I do also understand the business side of it. I understand the world that we live in now, and Black Friday is not even a thing because it's, you know, they start on Wednesdays and Tuesdays, and now on Monday this year, and you get everything online. And yeah, I mean, on one hand, like if you're looking for a deal, and if you're really going to buy something, then it sucks. That's one thing that we always said. Like the reason why we had fun going to Black Friday is because we weren't standing in line to buy anything. Like, so if you actually did go to buy something, I could see where it would be super frustrating. It'd be super tiring.
Aggravating.
Yeah, and very aggravating. But when you're just a couple of buffoons laughing at everybody doing it, it's some of my greatest memories.
That's awesome. Well, now we have a list of Christmas movies we like to see every year. But we're going to talk to you today about Christmas movies you may not know about. Okay? You may have heard about them, but you probably have not seen them. And we think you should. Home Alone will not be mentioned tonight. Neither will things like, I'm trying to think. I wouldn't mention It's a Wonderful Life. I think that's on TV all the time. What's it called? Christmas Story. I wouldn't mention that either. We're not going to mention any of the big ones that people would see every year. I would even say Elf is one.
Oh, yeah. So when thinking about this topic, it was, underrated Christmas movies. Yeah. And I want to be clear about one thing when it comes to, this particular list, maybe a little bit more than other ones. And I'll tell you why. Because, every time we always talk about, these lists are very subjective.
Yes, they are.
And you have different stuff. But this one, for me, is a little different because... At the holiday season and at Christmas time, there are traditions. And traditions, for me, just weigh a lot heavier than just normal opinions, right? So if there is something on here that we think is underrated, but maybe your family have watched it every year and your family loves it, then please don't take any offense to it. It just may be that in our world or through my lens, it's a little underrated.
I would say a majority of these people have never seen before. Maybe they've heard of, but they haven't seen.
Yeah, mine, I bet a lot of people have seen, probably most, if not all of mine, because I took that instead of obscure route, I took the ones that I felt were a little underrated.
Mine aren't maybe
that should get more attention.
Maybe one or two of obscure in a way, but you've heard of some of these.
Yeah.
You just don't realize that they're good.
Yeah.
All right, so any crossover? Because this is a particular topic.
I mean, I'll say one.
Okay. You are correct. Because I know you and I have one for sure.
Yeah.
But I got to go 0 because I don't believe 2.
Right.
So I'm hoping that you're going to forget this one. I will be shocked if you do not mention this one, though.
What, the one you think that we've got it to? Okay.
The one we've got on the same list. And I'll tell you why in a minute. But who would like to go first?
Well,
I'll go first. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, because you're more beautiful.
Okay. So I couldn't really come up with 5. I came up with 4 that I thought were solid. The 5th one, I'm just going to say, if you have children, it's not that bad. So it's number 5, The Beauty and the Beast Christmas, Enchanted Christmas.
Okay.
Megan and I have watched this one more than once. So that means it can't be bad. And it's all right. It's all right. It takes place during the winter time of the original movie. And it's just one big adventure. It's okay. The second time we watched it was a couple years back. And I said, you know what? This isn't that bad. She went, no, it's not. You know, for direct-to-DVD sequels and stuff, it's not the best one. The Aladdin ones are still the best. But if I throw out the Aladdin ones, then the only other thing is Beauty and the Beast Christmas. So if you have kids or girls and they love Beauty and the Beast, the Christmas one. Maybe that's why we had it. I can't remember. Probably. Anyway, we'll probably watch that one again. But like I said, it's more of an honorable mention, but I didn't have 5, so there's my 5th one.
Okay.
So go ahead. What's number 5?
So for me, my number 5 is the 1988 Richard Donner directed classic Scrooged.
Jeez, frag! I thought you were going to say Superman 2 for a minute. All right.
No, Scrooged with Bill Murray.
I thought about that one, but go ahead and talk about it.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's one of those movies, like I said earlier, like everybody's probably heard of it or seen it on TBS if you're around our age, because it was always on TBS growing up. But it is a rendition, one of the hundreds of A Christmas Carol of Charles Dickens. But it has that, Bill Murray humor where it's a little bit crass. It's a little bit...
it's Bill Murray.
It's Bill Murray, right. So, it's one of those ones that I actually don't watch every year. I like it. I don't watch it every year. There's some movies I watch every year, and there's some that I have kind of on rotation every couple of years. It's one of those every 4 or 5 rotational years.
Okay, yeah, mine would be a 5 or 6 rotation.
Right. But I mean, there's nothing much to say about it as far as just gushing over it. It's just a quality movie. That's it's a little dated because it's 34 years old now. But if you like
very
90s,
I thought that was a 90s one.
It's late 80s. It's around 88.
I thought it was early 90s, but okay.
But it's Bill Murray. Like he was, in the late 80s, early 90s,
right.
In Groundhog Day and his Ghostbusters 2. It's that same persona. He always kind of played his curmudgeon
He
self.
plays him.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's a quality movie. If you haven't seen it, for sure, check it out.
Okay. My number 4 is, and I've said this one before, Christmas Toy. The Christmas Toy is a Jim Henson movie that I am 1,000% sure when the rights were bought by Disney and Pixar was working with them, Pixar saw that movie and said, we can make Toy Story out of this. Because it is beat for beat Toy Story. The prequel. It's not as good as Toy Story. Toy Story was, they polished up the story and did a great job. But the Christmas Toy is Toy Story the movie. I mean, the Barbie jokes are in there. They're shared. It's about a toy that wants to be the kid's favorite Christmas toy for this year as well as last year. He was the last year prize toy. Just like Andy was the birthday toy, and he doesn't want to be replaced by a better birthday toy. What is the new Christmas toy? It is a space queen who doesn't know she's a toy, just like Buzz Lightyear doesn't know he's a toy. And he's a space ranger. I mean, it's obvious. Mm-hmm. And the stuffed animal is I think a lion or something, right?
That's right. It's like a little tiger.
It's like a tiger. Yes, like a little stuffed tiger. Mm-hmm. And his friend is a mouse that doesn't talk, like the horse. Mm-hmm. I mean, it is. And Barbie is always wondering what she's going to dress up for. That's the ongoing gag, which is the ongoing gag in the first Toy Story.
Right.
Because it's been a while since I've seen Toy Story, and I was like, oh my gosh, the similarities are there. 100%. So if you love Toy Story, which I do, go see the Christmas Toy. Again, you'll be like, okay, man, Toy Story is better. Yes, it's a better story overall, but you will be shocked to know where they got the story idea.
So I like that you brought that up, and I'll tell you why. Because we have talked ad nauseum over the years about our love for Jim Henson,
love him
for the Muppets, and I like that you went this way with your list because
holy cow, I know it's on your list now.
Well, because I may about to
is it?
I know I may about to spoil that because I was going to say that I actually went with just full-blown live-action movies for my top 5.
That's fine. That's fair. There was no rules.
Yeah, no, I stayed, and I looked at animation.
This toy is live action.
Well, it is, but I mean, like, what I'm saying is that I stayed away from the Jim Henson Muppet Family Christmas or
you could have said, is that the one that Jim Henson makes an appearance in?
Yes.
Okay.
Or Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas. You know,
I thought that would be on your list.
Well, it's one of my favorite pieces of Christmas stuff, but for me, it's like I said, I stayed with the live action, and B, like, that's in my heart not underrated, but I could see where most people probably haven't seen it.
It is, because Muppet Christmas Carol is popular.
Right.
And by the way, Muppet Christmas Carol is the best thing in the world, but
Muppet Family Christmas is actually better.
But Muppet Family Christmas, try it out, because it is the only appearance of Jim Henson on the screen.
As a matter of fact, well, it wasn't a movie because it was just an ABC special.
Yeah.
But it had every single Muppet entity at that time in 1987 in its heyday. So you had Muppets, Fraggle Rock, Sesame Street. They all came together.
It's like an Avengers Endgame.
Yes.
For Jim Henson.
And he shows up at the end.
And the creator, Stan Lee, makes an appearance at the end. It is a very brilliant movie.
It's not even on our list here, and we're just gushing over it. Oh, I love that. It makes me so happy.
You were the one that showed me it.
I mean, it's just the best.
It is good.
So my number 4 now. Okay, so this one, you might scoff at this a little bit.
I won't scoff,
because you might think that there's no way this is underrated.
Go for it.
But I guess I feel like this movie is still a little underrated, and that is Jingle All the Way with Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sinbad.
Okay. We just watched that last year.
I mean, to me, it's so good.
That's an every 3 to 4 year.
Right, yeah.
For me. Turbo Man, it is based off the Tickle Me Elmo craze.
Right.
They invent someone named Turbo Man. It's a solid movie. Mm-hmm. Sinbad plays a maniacal mailman who's going up against Arnold to try. They're all waiting for last minute to find this hard-to-find toy, and there's a billion copies of, what's his face?
Oh, I can't even think of the other guy.
But Booster. Right?
Right. The sidekick or whatever.
And no one likes Booster.
Right. So, yeah, it's those two that fight, basically all around the town.
But it's so good.
Right.
To the Spanish knockoff toy.
Right.
To the exclusive win this prize Turbo Man.
What I like about that movie, and I'm sure that probably most people that are listening have probably seen that, because in the past probably 8 to 10 years, it's at once kind of nostalgia started to become a real bankable asset. Yeah. People have really kind of turned back around for some of these things, but it came out in '96 and it was not looked highly upon
under the radar,
at that time. It was just another stupid, late '90s, '80s,
'90s
Arnold, yeah. And so it really wasn't until kids from that time started getting in their 30s and they started to miss like the Power Rangers and kind of understand that concept and became parents themselves, that it started to get a second wind. But it's not, when you look at it, and especially now getting older and having kids and stuff like that, like, you don't identify with the kid as much as you identify with Arnold and with Sinbad now. And it's got a great cameo by Phil Hartman, who's trying to sneak in on his wife and baking the cookies and everything. Phil Hartman, one of the best comedians ever come off of Saturday Night Live. But
he's a show stealer, scene stealer.
Oh my gosh! But just that whole notion of the relationship between Arnold Schwarzenegger and his son, and how it's kind of disconnected. And at the end, like
pre-episode 1, Jake Lloyd.
Yes, it was. He ends up saving the day, spoiler alert, dressing up as Turbo Man. So then Schwarzenegger gets to play an action hero, which he does so well. And
I'm sorry I couldn't get the toy, but you are Turbo Man.
Yeah,
that's the best toy of all.
It is. It has heart. And
it does. I think a lot of people forgot about that.
Yeah, and I'll always love that.
Great pick. All right, here comes the crossover, or I'm going to win this sucker.
Which is your number 3, right?
No, my number 3.
Okay.
You told me about it last year. You said I have to watch it. I did. It's very underrated because it's new, and I think it went under the radar. 8-Bit Christmas.
Yeah, so I did not put that on my list.
Holy crow, I may win this.
Just because it's so new, but it's one of the best things ever.
But new Christmas movies come out every year. And these days, they really go unnoticed. 8-Bit Christmas, you said, you got to see this. I went, really? You went, yes, you do. I said, all right. So I watched it. It was, even though the premise is 1988, right?
Somewhere around in there, mid-'80s, late 80s.
think late 80s. And Nintendo is the hottest toy, and this kid wants a Nintendo for Christmas. And basically, it's what's his name? Telling the story.
Neil Patrick Harris
in today's world about what it was like in the 80s trying to get a Nintendo. And Steve Vaughn is the dad, and I love Steve Vaughn. Forgotten comedian, underrated comedian. Anyway, that was not what I expected. I expected cliche 80s jokes, and what we got was a pretty fair representation of things and an excellent story with one of the funniest scenes I have ever seen. And I kind of will spoil this a little bit, but when the Nintendo talks to the kid, I could not stop laughing. Yes, Nintendo, I'll do whatever you want. I was like, because you know what? We were that kid.
Yes, we were.
The Nintendo could have told me to kill somebody, and I would have. But it's funny because it's like, wow, that is exactly what we felt like as kids. We would do anything to be Nintendo's best friend because we didn't think anything else was in our world. But at the end, there's a beautiful, beautiful twist, and you're gonna. It's a Lego movie twist that you didn't see coming. You're like, whoa, the movie has heart. I didn't realize you don't
and all
think
kinds
it does.
of heart. Well, it's not that they just throw that in to try to get you. You realize that the whole movie was about that the entire time, and you just didn't know.
I said, it's the Lego movie.
Right.
Lego movie fooled me.
Right, because
I didn't know it had heart till the end.
Right.
8-Bit Christmas will fool you.
Yeah, I look at it as our generation's Christmas story. It's very, very similar. It follows
the beats of a Christmas movie
in structure. Yeah, but they did get that Nintendo fever right.
They did
in an earnest way, and without it being, like you said, cliche and silly.
And I thought it was. I thought it was going to be that way.
Well, you see these memes and everything on TV or on Facebook and on the internet about what people think your room looked like in the 80s, but what it really looked like in the 80s. Like the nostalgia looking back is like all the neons and rad stuff and yada, yada, yada. But no,
posters all over your room.
No, our room was not like that.
Your parents did not, you got one poster, maybe two. You did not get to plaster it all over your room.
Colors,
and by the way, a 6 foot, Sports Illustrated stream bikini woman was not on my ceiling wall.
No.
I wish it was, but my mom would have killed me.
We did not all have Reebok pumps and big boom boxes and
TVs in your room.
Yeah, no, right. So
playing MTV really loud.
There was not a bunch of neon greens and oranges and stuff.
Yeah.
It was very drab colors, And this movie I felt really represented that because while it had kind of goofy moments here and there, it didn't beat you over the head with this. This is what the 90s looked like. No, it was very fair.
It was very fair, I thought. Very subtle.
Yeah.
And it's pain. All right, so what's number 3?
All right, so my number 3, once again, probably not super obscure, but I feel like we're starting to get a little bit more obscure here. I love this movie. It is a huge guilty pleasure of mine. It's not an every year for me either, but it is usually every 2, every 3. So now we're starting to get kind of a little bit
more common
for me. I bet you Megan probably loves this movie. I don't know if we've ever had a conversation about it.
If you name a Hallmark Christmas movie, I'm pulling the podcast right now.
No, it is not Hallmark. It is, but it is Disney. It is the Jonathan Taylor Thomas classic, I'll Be Home for Christmas.
I'd never seen that.
I think you might actually like it. You may not. I don't know. Sometimes we do.
I'll give it a shot.
But I do believe that Megan probably likes it because it was late '90s, so it was
he was the hottie.
It was peak JTT.
Yeah.
He has a lot of charisma, and it's a very funny, interesting movie to me. It may not have quite as much heart as some of the other ones that we've talked about, but it is kind of a coming of age, a very entitled kid, having to go through a lot of hardships to kind of learn, the meaning of Christmas and the meaning of life, and not be so selfish.
It's added to my Christmas watch list.
It's pretty funny. It's just got some. No,
I'll watch it.
Yeah, it's earnest.
It's one of those movies
funny.
I've seen all the time.
Yeah.
But I've never watched it.
Yeah, it's nothing
I think that's underrated. That counts as underrated.
It's nothing original. It's nothing that you're just going to come away from being like, that's the best movie I've ever seen.
Yeah.
But it's just quality from beginning to end in a 90s feel good. They don't really make this type of movie anymore kind of thing.
Does Jim Henson appear in it?
He does not.
F that movie. I'm kidding.
But there is a young, I can't remember who his love interest is off the top of my head. Maybe Jessica Biel.
Okay.
A young Jessica Biel. But
done.
Yeah, you should watch that, and I bet you Megan will watch it with you.
Okay. Number two. I love it so much. I bought a replica from the movie. It is in the style of Jim Henson, though it's not Jim Henson, but they use the Muppets for creatures in Krampus. Have you seen Krampus?
You talking about from 2015?
Yes, or 2016, 17.
Yeah, the quasi horror movie. Yeah, I love that movie.
Yeah. It's not really. I mean, there is some scary moments, but it's not gore.
Right.
It's not. It's creepy. Oh man, I love when the parents are looking out down the road and inside, and there's snow coming down.
Oh sure.
It's dark and gloomy and it's creepy, but it's not super scary. But it is at the same time. Krampus looks amazing.
Right.
You know, he looks like a Muppet, a Muppet creation of Dark Crystal. Mm-hmm. It's Dark Crystal scary. There you go.
Right. Well, yes, but I think at the very, very end, isn't there like a little...
Well, the freaky toys and everything, the goblins.
Things.
But even them, they're people in masks. I mean, costumes and
wasn't
stuff.
There like a death or two? Like somebody got
their
head smashed or something like that?
I don't think you see any of the deaths. I think they just get taken away and maybe they die.
Yeah, maybe so, yeah. I love that movie. Yeah,
that movie is great.
Have you seen any of the sequels? Because I haven't. There's like Mother Krampus, and
no, that's not pure sequels to it, is it?
I think
those are just ripoffs. I think those are just ripoffs.
They could be. I mean, I've never seen them, so I can't say.
No, Krampus is excellent, and it's got a good ending. And I have the little ornament that says Krampus.
Nice.
And it's on my tree.
Nice.
Yeah,
I'll show you.
It's great. I had to buy that movie replica the moment I knew it existed.
Yeah.
Because Krampus, I would say watch it with someone over 13. Yeah. I think kids 12 and 10 would have a little bit of nightmares.
Maybe.
Because there are some freaky parts.
Yeah.
But it's not like a gory thing. There are some wordy dirds in it too, I guess, now that I think about it. But it's just funny. It's funny and it's humorous and very light use of CGI. Mm. In fact, I think Krampus's shadow jumping from rooftop to rooftop is really the only thing, but that looks legit.
Right.
I mean, that movie is great. Yeah. It is great.
I'm going to watch that again this year.
There you go.
You've got it on my this year list.
All right. Go for it.
All right. My number 2 is one of my biggest guilty pleasures. I do consider it a Christmas movie for a lot of reasons, but I will watch it year round.
Okay.
Anytime I want to feel good. And it is a movie called The Holiday. And it stars Kate Winslet, Jack Black, Jude Law, and
I seem to remember this.
Cameron Diaz.
Okay, yeah.
And so the whole movie is basically about two women, Cameron Diaz, who lives in Hollywood and works for the movies, and Kate Winslet, who is kind of a down on her luck, kind of drab, English woman. And they get on this website to where they can swap and live in each other's houses for the holidays.
Yes, I remember this, yes.
And so Cameron Diaz goes to Britain, and so she meets Jude Law, who happens to be Kate Winslet's brother.
Yeah.
And that they have their little love story, fish out of water stuff.
Right.
And then Kate Winslet comes to L.A. and meets Jack Black, who is like a music producer who does stuff for and knew Cameron Diaz.
And doesn't know Cameron Diaz is gone and goes by the house.
Right. Yeah.
I remember this.
And
now.
so then they kind of like, have their little romantic kind of stuff. But it's just very, sweethearted. I love everybody in it. Kate Winslet is my favorite actress on the planet. Y'all have heard me say that numerous times.
Right.
It's easygoing, fun, charismatic Jack Black. He's one of my favorite entertainers.
Yeah.
Nobody ever has any bad word to say about him. He can be as goofy as he wants to be, but this was a movie where he was just charming and funny, and it worked out well. You got Jude Law being exactly what he does best, which is just kind of a charming British guy, but it has a lot of heart to it. They all have to kind of find their own way. Cameron Diaz has to be able to learn how to love again. Jude Law is a widower, so he has 2 kids. He has to kind of learn how to love again. So it's one of those movies that anytime I'm feeling down, like I will turn that on and it'll make me feel
If you want to score points to the misses, turn on The Holiday.
Oh, yes. Well, I love it more than my misses.
And then watch the sequel, which is called Barbarian.
I love. Did you watch Barbarian?
No, I did not. Do you love it?
Great movie.
Really?
Yeah. No, we should.
I hear so many people talk about it, but
yeah, I can see where it'd be polarizing, but we should have like a podcast. I know Halloween is over, but about like kind of newer horror movies, because there's been a resurgence lately in horror movies that I've loved, and you haven't heard me say I love a new horror movie since like 1982.
I know. My nephews screamed to the rooftops about Smile being the best thing they've ever seen. I
love Smile. I watched it 2 nights ago. It wasn't anything new.
It was nothing new, and I was so disappointed. But it was built up by my nephew so much.
Did you watch it?
Yeah, I was disappointed.
Yeah, it was nothing new, nothing original. It was better when it was called a movie called It Follows. Now that's a dang good movie.
It was beat for beat. It Follows.
It was, right.
And It Follows is a 1,000 times better movie.
I agree.
1,000. That's the whole. I swear to you, that's what I thought. I went, this is the plot to It Follows, but worse.
Yeah.
And I couldn't get over that. And they gave me beat for beat.
Same thing. And done better then. The reason why I liked Smile was a little bit of the camera work was good, but the ending had an ending that it should have had, and they didn't. You know what I mean?
I mean, because I knew what it was.
It's like Drag Me to Hell, right? That movie is a great movie.
But that movie was the first one to do something like that.
Yeah, but like that movie ended the way it's supposed to end.
Yeah, I know, but that was the first time they ever did that ending before in a movie.
Well, I don't know.
And then they started.
Have you ever seen the movie Fallen with Denzel Washington and John Goodman?
Yes, I did.
This is very much like this.
That's the only Denzel movie I love. Denzel Washington movie I love.
But that was more of a mainstream thing because it was a Denzel Washington vehicle than it was like an independent horror. Anyway,
was that more of a thriller than a horror?
Yeah, it was thriller. Yeah.
I would not call that a horror movie.
No,
I think Drag Me to Hell was the first one that did that ending.
Was a horror movie,
and now that is the cliche ending for everything.
Yeah.
All right, so we can talk about this later.
Yes, we will.
Number 1, my brother introduced me to it in 2019, I believe. I don't want to watch it every year, but I have every year, and I will possibly watch it again if someone has not seen it. Nicolas Cage, Family Man.
Oh, it's a great movie. Yeah.
No one
Téa
knows.
Leoni, love her.
No one knows it's a Christmas movie, I don't think.
Yeah.
Folks, I'm telling you, if you want to get on your knees and thank me, tell me you love me.
I love getting on my knees.
Yeah.
And thanking you.
I'm going to give you to the count of 3 to get your ugly yellow belly keister off the couch and go watch Family Man.
Oh man.
Family Man is wonderful about a man who has it all: riches, power, fame, fortune, and he's a loner, but he loves it. He doesn't regret his life. He didn't hate his life. And then he wakes up one day. It's the whole topsy-turvy, a little bit of magic,
Some
with
Freaky Friday
with the girl that he left a long time ago. Doesn't think about that often. But what if path if they'd got married? Well, he didn't have the riches. He didn't have the power. He didn't have the fame. He didn't have the fortune. So he's trying to get back to that. I do not want to ruin this movie. I want you to see this movie. But the best, most incredible scene in movie history is
in Titanic.
No. In the
when
movie,
he's drawing her.
No, in the movie,
like one of his French girls.
No, in the movie Family Man, when he's sitting on the couch in the dark. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I don't remember it. I mean, I know that movie and I love it, but it's been years. So yeah, but don't tell me because I want to watch it again. This year.
Let's watch it.
I'm gonna put it on my list.
I'll watch it with you.
Yeah,
I love that movie. I'm trying not to watch it every year, but I cannot help it. It is super powerful. It is a must. If you don't see any of my movies, see Family Man. All right, go for it.
I like it.
Don't watch watch Family Guy if you want to get a good laugh, but if you want to get a giggity. But Family Man is excellent. All right, final one.
So my final one.
I won, by the way.
You did win. This is the one that I thought we might cross over.
Okay.
Actually, my number one.
Go ahead.
Because I know you love this movie. Because you'll know when I say it. But I have to throw out a little disclaimer here. Like, to me, this movie has the most Christmas spirit and Christmas heart out of almost every movie I've ever seen.
Oh, shoot.
Like
Christmas Vacation 2, Cousin Eddie's Island.
How did you know? No. okay, stuff like Miracle on 34th Street, like that's got so much heart, right? I mean, and
Megan loves the 90s version with the Jurassic Park guy in
I
it.
do too.
That would be her number one pick for underrated.
It's such a good movie. It's got Christmas spirit, and that's what I look for a lot of times. That's what made 8-Bit Christmas so good to me.
It's got to have heart.
Spirit and heart, and
that's why Family Man is so good.
And I'll get to Hallmark movies in a second because I want to talk about a little bit in the honorable mentions. But most of the Hallmark movies, even though they're absolutely cheesy and you know what you're getting, a lot of them these days have that Christmas spirit and more heart to them than most of the mainstream ones. A lot of mainstream Christmas movies these days have really gone to that lowbrow humor, and it's just not funny to me. It doesn't touch the right note. This movie came out in 1989. It is my favorite of this person's and this character's movies. I watch it every year without fail, every Christmas without fail. It makes me feel excellent every year without fail, and I will watch it every year that I can until the day that I die. If I lose my sight somehow, I will listen to it because it makes me that happy.
Hugh Hefner's Christmas at the Playboy Mansion.
No! Okay. And not the Star Wars Holiday Special either.
Dang it!
Because that sucks. No, Ernest Saves Christmas.
That's a good pick.
I love
That's a great
Ernest
pick.
Saves Christmas, and people overlook it. Either they don't.
I think it used to be popular back when Ernest was popular, but now you're right; it's been forgotten.
Yeah, and if people do happen to come across it, they dismiss it because it's Ernest, and they think that it's
you
stupid.
Should not.
You should not. It is Ernest, but it's the best pieces of Ernest that you've ever seen.
I think Ernest Goes to Jail is still my favorite, but that is a good one.
Ernest Goes to Jail has the most characters, it has the most comedy, and that dadgum scene where he breaks the pen off in his mouth and the jury scene is the funniest piece.
It's him at his best.
It's him at his best, but
you're right. But Ernest Saves Christmas is solid,
and it has that spirit, and it's the spirit of the girl, the runaway girl, and believing in Santa because she doesn't want to believe in Santa. She wants to grow up, and he believes in Santa. Ernest is just so silly and so stupid that he believes in Santa and child at heart. And it's how beautiful it is because we all still have that child in us, but the world just beats us down and tries to make us forget about it. But Ernest didn't. And so it's that heart attached to his silliness that makes him just this universal kid. And then whenever he gets a chance at the end to drive the sleigh and to command the elves and stuff, it's silly, but it just makes you feel good. I love that movie so much. Number one underrated Christmas movie.
There you go. So honorable mentions. Go ahead.
Well, I have
mention that Hallmark.
Well, I have two separate things. All right. I want to talk about two genres just real quick.
Go.
Number one is Hallmark. Now, I love Hallmark Christmas movies. They've become a thing, but I love them. There's three that I think stand above the rest. Number one is
stop. Mm-hmm. Should we come back and get the missus and do Hallmark Christmas?
We could.
Let's do it.
Yeah. I'll save those. Now, so the other one,
I think the missus would love to do that podcast.
Yeah. And I bet you she's seen all three of those and probably loves them.
I bet she has, and she'd love to talk to you about them. So go.
So there's this other genre. It's the Christmas horror movies. You talked a little bit about Krampus. Yeah. Well, there's in the 80s and in the 70s they had slasher movies, and
you had me watch a few,
and I love them. Right? There's four that I want to name. Okay.
All right, go for it.
Number one, 1974, Black Christmas.
I knew Black Christmas was going to be the one you were going to talk about.
Well, it's really the movie that started the slasher craze, honestly.
Really?
It's really kind of...
Not Halloween?
Okay, so here's... When you look at slashers and the history of them, most people will go back to Psycho and say that, okay, Psycho was probably, the first slasher, right? Okay. And then, yes, Halloween.
But holiday slasher is Halloween, and then all the other holidays got Christmas
Halloween
movies.
was the one in 78 that really was oh my God, this is the definitive slasher. But when you look at Black Christmas beforehand, people will say that, okay, that was the precursor that really led up to it. If you watch Black Christmas today, not the new, there's been two other remakes and they're horrible, but the original one, it is so creepy and it is so weird. And the ending will just give you chills in a very different way than any movie today. Love that movie.
We watched that with you, I think, a long time ago.
Oh man.
You know, Megan still loves Sleepaway Camp or whatever.
Oh well, yeah. I mean, the ending.
No.
There's two. There's Silent Night, Deadly Night, and Christmas Evil. All right, those two are.
I didn't know about Christmas Evil, but Silent Night, Deadly Night.
Both of those are people dressed up as Santa Claus killing people. Christmas Evil is by far the better one.
If anyone has forgotten, Mikey used to work at Blockbuster.
Oh yeah.
So these movies were always there.
Oh yes, I love them. They're also at your disposal now. Anytime you would like to watch them.
I know.
So, but Christmas Evil is by far better, and it is literally a man who just kind of goes crazy and dresses up as Santa and kills people. But what I love about it is that it was made in a time where they really don't give you any backstory. They don't really care to make sense out of it. And it's just kind of creepy that way. Very much like Halloween was. I mean, one of the things that we still love about the original Halloween was that they didn't over explain anything. He's just pure evil. Don't give me that much of a backstory. He's not his brother and sister. They're not doing any of that stuff. And so they did this with this guy. This guy just kind of dressed up as Santa Claus and killed people. But it was good. But there's one that I want to talk about that I watched last year for the first time ever.
Go ahead.
Didn't even know it was a thing. And I would love for you to watch it this year. It is a French movie called Dial Code Santa Claus. Okay, here's the thing about this movie. This movie is Home Alone. Not only is this movie Home Alone, right?
Okay.
The creator of this movie tried to sue John Hughes.
No.
Yes, and Chris Columbus. Because,
he's that positive.
Because, well, when you watch the movie, it is. Because it is a kid in his house, in his mansion, and a deranged guy dressed up as Santa Claus breaks into his house and is trying to kill him. He sets up traps all around his house and tries to take matters into his own hands and kill the bad guy. Now, it's much more serious because it has actual deaths and it's considered a horror movie. But it is very unique in the way that it's shot and it's filmed. This guy actually did go through litigation and try to sue them. And I don't think he won, obviously.
He didn't have the money behind him.
But I'm telling you, I read about this and then I was like, okay, come on. And then whenever I watched it, I was like, they ripped this off. It's like you were talking about with
really?
I believe it 100%.
Wow.
I believe it 100%.
Say it one more time for everyone.
Dial Code Santa Claus. But it also has a couple of different names. It could be called Game Over.
But it's a horror version of Home Alone.
Yeah.
Wow.
Great movie.
All
and
right.
I want you to watch it this year and tell me what you think.
Right.
It's more artistic than great. Don't get me wrong. But
right.
It's just different and interesting.
Done.
All
right. There you go. Hey, folks, let us know in the comments what are some underrated Christmas movies. Let us know, and we'll see you next time on Saturday morning.
Samoflange.